Louisiana is quickly becoming a national hotspot for carbon capture. But with that growth comes controversy. Now lawmakers are debating how and even whether these projects should move forward. This legislative session, new bills address property rights, local control, and who gets a say in what happens next. Here's a look at the intense debate unfolding at the Capitol. Across Louisiana, a quiet energy revolution is stirring up some of the loudest debates in the state capitol in years. Carbon capture, a technology meant to trap industrial carbon emissions, is now at the center of a high-stakes political battle. This session, lawmakers filed more than 20 bills related to carbon capture. One of the first to get a hearing was House Bill 7, known as the Louisiana Landowners Protection Act. The bill would have prohibited companies from using eminent domain to acquire private property for CO2 transport or storage, a move opponents said could stall industrial projects worth billions.
My bill, if you will vote yes, will take that unusual and extraordinary power away.
At a nearly 5-hour standing room only hearing, stakeholders testified, sometimes shouting over each other, forcing the chairman to repeatedly call for order.
Do you think we have the right to change the rules in the middle of the game and think that we are a business-friendly state if we're going to change the rules?
All right, hold on one second here. Hold on one second.
Brian,
I get it, but
hey, gentlemen, hold on one second.
During the hearing, industry groups, including Louisiana Economic Development, also testified against the bill, warning that restrictions could jeopardize about $75 billion in planned industrial projects tied to carbon capture.
Many of the industries that are working in this space, or the companies that are looking to develop wells, are also doing community impact studies and seeing how they can specifically give back and support particular elements in the communities. We just look at the carbon capture related projects that we've announced in the state since about 2020, 2021. It represents $75 billion. But then when we looked at those projects, look at the actual jobs, it's 16,000 jobs.
Despite the possible benefits, the hearing revealed deep discontent among rural and suburban communities concerned about property rights, environmental impacts, and safety. Those concerns are now being tested in court. The Louisiana Bucket Brigade recently filed 2 lawsuits on behalf of residents who live near projects that have carbon capture components. What are residents near these projects where these lawsuits are? What are they telling you on the ground?
Well, the reason that we filed suit is because we're collaborating with local residents who have lived in Louisiana for generations. Some families can trace their roots to the 1800s. This is who we should be listening to. Again, not a corporation from South Korea or from Texas or from somewhere else.
The group says the cases target the Port of South Louisiana and the state, alleging improper procedures in approving project agreements.
The state of Louisiana is giving massive amounts of our money, of public money, to corporations. And what we have found is that the state did not go through the proper processes for handing over so much money to corporations. The underlying agreements that make these projects possible should be scrapped.
To weigh in on the broader implications, we spoke with Dr. Gregory Upton, Executive Director of LSU's Center for Energy Studies, about landowner rights and the economic stakes.
So in the early days, what was happening, the neighbor would go and then they would drill a well. And then the neighbor would go and they would drill another well. And this, of course, wasn't environmentally ideal, but also this wasn't economically efficient. So what the state did is we implemented a regulatory process around this, and it's called unitization. So a company comes in, they'll lease all of the landowners within an area, and once they get critical mass of those landowners, they can go to the state and establish what's called a regulatory unit. But there's a legitimate debate. Should we implement a regulatory regime similar to what we've done for oil and gas, or is this a fundamentally different issue?
Dr. Upton also points out that while local consent matters, the state also faces pressure to stay competitive in energy infrastructure and industrial investment.
On the other hand, if we go, I call it the ostrich approach, where we put our head in the sand and say, I don't want to think about this, that's another risk. And that what we might find is other parts of the world are able to produce these products, not only that are cost competitive, but also at this lower emissions intensity.
The debate over HB 7 was just the opening salvo. Companion bills, House Bills 5 and 6, remain under consideration. One giving Rapides Parish officials a local vote on CCS projects, the other extending that authority statewide.
And the reality is carbon capture is going to happen. The global economy is simply demanding it. This isn't a domestic issue as much as it is a global economic issue.
We should be listening to the people who live in and love our state. We don't want it. I don't care if some other state may pursue this bad idea. It doesn't mean that Louisiana should do it.
From standing room only committee hearings to ongoing lawsuits, the conversation over carbon capture is far from finished. How it resolves will define the future of energy, industry, and property rights in Louisiana.